Hey there guys, this is Obsidian Chill. Got another video for you today. This one is kind of like just a quick update video that I'm back. I wanted to touch on a few aspects. The first part, over the past week or so, there's been some drama on the forums, mostly regarding the patching, the balancing, all the issues, not issues with Hive Elite. So I'm going to touch on that and kind of the fallout from that, as well as the second half of this video. I'll leave an annotation in the description so you can jump right to it if you wanted to. I want to kind of update you guys on the videos you guys kind of expect going forward. The support you guys have shown me over the past few months has been absolutely amazing. From deleting my channel because I didn't think I'd be back to YouTube, to getting over 2,000 subscribers again. Every video I make, even if it's a video that doesn't cater towards one specific person, it's getting tons of views. So I've got to give a huge shout out to you guys and the people watching these videos. All your support's amazing. And all I can do is keep making videos that you guys are going to find interesting. And to that aspect, you can skip toward. You can leave a comment description too what videos you want to see, but skip to that part just so you can see that's not already included on that list. But the first part of the video, let's touch on this. So Hive Elite comes out. There was Terra's debris field was giving people in raids really hard time. Deathstroke was pretty easy. The first boss, Buzzcut and Plumbus, was easy. And then once again, there was the no death counter, no rally glitch, which has been evident for the past, year almost in every Elite raid. Panny, Zooey, pretty much almost every Elite raid release has issues with the death rally counter. But honestly, the first day, I thought that was intended because the death rally works on the first two bosses. But this is the first time that's only been broken on one boss. And that Terra was so hard with the debris field, I just assumed that that it was intended. But that's beside the point. So basically, the debris field was toned down, the raid got a little bit easier, but what people didn't know is that Deathstroke's icon suit, which is that kind of suit armor that he puts, that shield that you have to break, because everything but the Deathstroke fight is a damage check. All his phases, that icon phase suit, that was always a damage check, his laser beam. So all along the Deathstroke fight wasn't doing intended damage, so when Deathstroke was fixed, then all of a sudden it was impossible, and Terra was a lot harder with the healing buff. So it's the first part that people need to realize is that there's a lot of negativity being thrown at the devs, specifically Sharon for all these changes to Hive Elite. And what they're missing is the bigger point to this, or the bigger picture to this, is that the DLC's already come out. Like, they don't necessarily have to work on a lot of things. Like, yes, they want to get it to a point where everyone's happy, but the DLC's out. They could be working on that Atlantis DLC or whatever else they have to be doing, and not contribute so much time and effort into the DLC that's already on live. But we're getting like daily feedback from Sharon, and Milbarge is the dev that's in charge of Machine Elite, and Sharon is the dev that's in charge of Hive. So these devs are being super active, way more active than anything I've seen in the longest time. And we're shitting on these devs because there's some balancing issues, of course. On test server, you cannot test Elite raids. A, there's hardly anyone available to test Elite raids. B, most of them are PS players just playing on a PC, so their PC may not be able to handle it, or they're not used to it because there's no PS test server. So the test server is just not a great environment set up to test Elite raids. There's also almost constant lag. There's disconnection issues. So we can't do a lot of testing on these Elite raids. So unfortunately, a lot of it has to do after the fact when it hits live, because that's when all these players are playing it. Test server is great for finding like little bugs and stuff, but in the end, it is not great for testing balancing in Elite raids, because we don't look at Throne Elite, Throne of the Dead. Throne of the Dead was so broken for so long, that final fight with the Totem Masters and the unlimited spawning ads and the teleport, and we couldn't test that on test server because test server was fine, and then it hit live, everything had changed. So, and Throne of the Dead, it was broken for like a month or more. So it's just, when it comes to Elite raids, it's just test server is not great for fine tuning, and that's what we have to do in live. Apparently, now that their devs are actually active and fine tuning it and making all these changes, everyone's raising pitchforks and axes and going after the devs, which is completely asinine, because if anything, this should be encouraged. We don't want to discourage the devs. These devs have been so active, it's been amazing. But we'll take I want to highlight one thing that came to light. So I'll show the tweet up on the screen. This is a player called Mint Julep. So he tweeted DCO and Air to Prey. I'll show the tweet here. It is clear something is wrong with your testing methodology when a raid has to be patched. Also, I wonder what makes New and Obsidian Chill so qualified for you to only listen to their feedback, considering that Obsidian Chill exploited it day one. So let's take a look at a couple of things here. So the first part, methodology when a raid needs to be patched. That's just a completely asinine statement. As I just said, you're not going to find every little thing on test server. Test server is different from live server. There's thousands of players more running it. They can't fine tune everything, so stuff's going to happen. We have to realize that. Paradox Waves was the same thing. Paradox Wave, and specifically the Epic Odyssey feed, had to change tons of times. They added the grounding. The grounding started to screw everything up, and then we had those orbs on the outside, so you couldn't drag the boss certain ways. Those would spark, or those would double hit for damage. You had the Paradox Tyrant's roll. He used to roll all over the place. His roll used to kill you if you were standing like 30 feet to the side, because the AoE damage from it was ridiculous. So it's Paradox Wave had tons of patches and fine tuning after it was released until it's the raid everyone remembers. It happens every single time. I'm not sure where he's getting this point where their methodology is wrong when they've got to patch a raid. So that's ridiculous, number one. And number two, let's take a look at this New and Obsidian Chill feedback. Obviously, if you're trying to, like the devs, MEP said it with Pan-E, that they're focusing more on elite content. Obviously, that wasn't the case because Pan-E and Escape are your complete joke raids as an elite. But that's a topic for another day. But these raids are the first raids we've seen where them actually focusing on elite content. They want elite to be hard. They don't want everyone to beat elite. If you don't find elite too hard, run normal. If you find normal too hard, run the event mode. This is what the devs have said, and this is what their plan is going forward. So, obviously, if they're trying to make elite raids hard, it makes sense to ask the player base that are running elite. Because, like I've always said, you can have players that run elite, but there's a difference between players who run elite and players that run elite and can articulate their feedback. So, if you say, okay, oh yeah, this is hard, it's great. Why is it hard? Why is it great? Where are the mechanics? What mechanics need to be changed? That you need to look at the fight mechanically from a controller point of view, a healer point of view, a tank point of view. Because you can have a fight that's really hard for a tank like Terra. Like, debris field didn't really matter to, the players or the healers or anything else, as long as they weren't going for a res, because the debris field would stop reses on the tank. But that's the thing. You need to look at a fight from a tank point of view. Oh, debris field needs to be changed. Didn't impact really DPS, but you need to change that. Same thing with carrying the rocks. Putting the rocks in the volcano and having that area placement area too small, or the dot that would tick on you while you're carrying it in. Like, these things a tank may not see that because they're going to have shields and carry the rocks, and DPS are going to be squishy. They got nothing to protect themselves. So you've got to look at feedback from all the different point of views, which you aren't going to get that from certain players. It only makes sense to ask players that have continually shown fortitude for the elite content, like Select View, like New, like Logout and Persistence now. So you'd want to get feedback from these players rather than all the other players like fucking Proxy Star and all these other trash players that think Pan-E is a great raid. You don't want feedback from them because then we get shitty elite raids. If you're axing Trexlight, if you're axing Proxy Star or the 9102 or whatever guy on the forums. So if you ask those players, they're going to give you shitty feedback because they want raids to be easy. They don't even know what makes a hard raid hard. They're the ones getting the Darkside War Factory Elite feats way after the fact. The ones getting Epic Odyssey way after the fact. You want to ask players that know why a raid is hard, what makes a raid hard, to get proper feedback. And this is what Sharon was doing. Sharon's not a retarded dev. He's not asking on the forums openly, what can we do to change it, because he knows he's going to get 20 people giving shitty opinions. He goes to the inbox and private messaging, says, okay, what can be done? What's your feedback? There are tons of bugs that you guys don't even know about that happened in Hive Elite that, was told to Sharon. Though that little update about the quad bombs, where do you think that came from? Who do you think thought of quad bombs? Do you think Mint Julep would have thought, oh yeah, like maybe I should try using quad bombs and see if it makes a difference on the certain aspects of the fight? No, that's coming from players that know every aspect of the game to think, oh, maybe I should try using these quad bombs to see what kind of effect they have. And that's the feedback you don't get from players like that because they don't even know. They don't know to look for ledges. They don't know what other people are going to actually try to exploit. So this is why, It only makes sense if you're going, like I said on the forums in one of my messages, if you're going to build a deck, if you have a house and you're going to build a deck, you're not going to go to some general contractor that builds the decks every once in a while. You're going to go to a professional company that deals with decks only, because you know you're going to get the best job from them, because all they do is build decks. So you're not going to find some guy that was a plumber and said, yeah, I was a plumber for 20 years. I start building decks, or I built my own deck. I'm sure I could do a great job on yours. No, you're going to go to a decking company that said, oh yeah, we build thousands of decks each year. Here's all our references, because they actually have the fortitude for decks. That's the people you're going to go to. So let's touch on the third point of Julep's quote, considering Obsidian Chill exploited at day one. That is also another pretty funny statement. I can only assume he's mean exploiting as the death counter glitch, which is, as I said, pretty much a glitch every single release. So, as you guys can see through all my videos, I like to be, if not top 5, top 10 players that are geared the fastest. All max gear, max OP items, everything. That's just something I like to do. I save my replayed badges for that aspect. I don't really replay throughout the content. I'll buy replays if I can, but as soon as the DLC comes out, I like to be one of the first, if not the first, to have all the gear. That's just me. So even when Zooey was out, even though Zooey was totally bugged, I was still running it because I wanted the marks, I wanted the renown. That's not going to stop me. And like I said, you can't even say exploiting. It's because it's not an exploit; it's a glitch. It's available to everyone. Anyone could have done what I did, which was just running the raid. And not only that, not only am I running it for gear, but I'm running it for feedback. Sharon's asking me all these things, or all these people are questioning stuff on the forums. I'm running Hive Elite every single day, so I can find every little aspect of that raid that needs to be changed or adjusted, or what's not working in the Deathstroke fight. And I'm getting renown at the same time. So I really don't see where this like, oh, if you beat a raid, you beat the raid with the death counter glitch. The raid, even with the death counter glitch, was still hard. There's still plenty of groups struggling to beat Hive Elite, even when you had the death rallies without the death rallies on Terra. So I really don't see where that's coming from. I think that's pretty funny that he's mentioning that. And the reason why I say that's pretty funny is we're going to skip to this screenshot here. Oh, and who's that? Who's that on the tank in Ultima Soldier? Is that Mint Julep? Is that Mint Julep standing on the tank, tanking, taking no damage from Ultima Soldier? I'm pretty sure that's an exploit. I don't know what you guys think. Maybe you guys should comment on that, or send Mint Julep a telling game and ask him, is that an exploit? Because I'm pretty sure that looks like an exploit to me, tanking on top of the tank, taking no damage from Ultima Soldier. Kind of reminds me like Paradox Way, people tanking on top of the pillars. And the devs openly said that was an exploit. So, let's see from that. Another funny thing, you're going to see this screenshot here. Take a peek at the artifact. So, Mint Julep is questioning why New and myself are qualified to give feedback on Elite content when Mint Julep is spending 170,000 Nth Metal XP worth to level a Lazarus artifact, which is the self-revive, because Mint Julep knows he's so shitty as a tank, he knows he's going to die, so he's trying to help the group by getting a self-res every 4 hours. Yeah, that's a super great investment on your Nth Metal, that's for sure. So like I said, Hive Elite, right now, we've had some most recent changes. We'll see how it is now, but the thing that people need to take away is the fact that these devs want to keep raids hard. They're resisting changes. So that's why when the raid was too hard, everyone's raising pitchforks and stuff. Sharon's like, okay, well, I don't want to make it too easy. I want to keep it hard. Same thing with Milbarge in Machine Elite. So the takeaway from this is that the devs actually care about bringing hard content to us, at least now. So instead of discouraging them from doing that in the future, we want to encourage that and just give the feedback that we need, I think is necessary, so we get raids that are equally challenging in Elite. Okay, for the second aspect of this video, which was going to touch on kind of my YouTube roadmap, I'm going to put kind of annotations on the screen. But basically, I did have some video ideas of mine that I'm going to be working on now, because there's not too much to upload with this DLC. I'll probably do some more like Hive Elite and Machine Elite footage if I switch power sets or something like that. But those videos are gonna be here and far between because there's no feats in this DLC that are hard at all. All of them are done easily. Even like the elite feats, they're super simple. You don't need a guide, or there's no like accomplishment feat. Completed them, they're just there. So the next video you guys are going to see, I'm going to be working on my tank power set DPS guide. So this is going to be like ice, earth, atomic, rage, fire. I'm going to be doing the DPS side only because I already did a tank video. I don't need to do like an in-depth guide. So I'm going to show you the melee, range, and single target rotations that I do for all those power sets. It'll be coming from the test server because it's going to cost way too much and way too much augments and everything to go switch to these on live server. So it's going to be the test server, so I won't be able to test them in a raid per se, but at least you'll get an idea of what the rotations and the parsers are going to be to kind of give you some idea for rotations. After that, I plan on doing where I'm testing, kind of like just like I did my pet testing damage and all those other testing videos. I'm going to do every 50% supercharge in the game across all power sets. Like I did before in those videos, so you can see the damage basically from every 50% super, just comparing them. Just so you guys get an idea from that aspect. The same thing I'm going to do testing all the 100% super damages, so taking every 100% super in the game and testing that, getting some parsers for that, just like in those other videos. I'm going to do a complete healer spec guide, so like I did my in-depth tank guide, where I take a look at all the tanking power sets, tanking side of the rotations. I'm going to do that for healer. That's going to take a bit more time just because I don't heal that much at all, especially now since stats revamp. So I'll just have to make sure I go through and talk to a few friends and get their feedback as well before I get that video out. I'm going to do a video on does hard light shield stack, because there seems to be a bug. It's been kind of persistent since stats revamp, but it's a little bit hard to notice. But say if you have hard light shield and then or say like you have a celestial healer, you get a celestial shield, and then you pop hard light shield as a tank. That hard light shield will not stack with that celestial shield, and you won't notice it, like it's not going to stack because there's some sort of bug. A lot of if you tank full time, you should be able to notice this as well. If you pop hard light shield before the healer pops their shield, it does work. But it's if you switch it and reverse it, vice versa, it doesn't. So I'm going to try to figure out a test to show does hard light shield stack with tanks or with trolls or with healers, etc. Because it's pretty sure if a controller uses a group supercharge, it does stack. Same thing with a tank, but it doesn't stack with healers. So, well, I'll take a look at that more closely. I thought about doing a video like DPS testing standards. So what I mean by that is when you take a look at all these YouTubers that do DPS rotations, some of them like have just the combat lookup, some have their parsers set to like in combat instead of like 10 seconds, 30 seconds. They don't show their stats, so you have no idea for comparison. So I thought about doing a video that just kind of like gives a baseline about if you're going to upload a DPS guide on DPS, this is what you need to include so that it can be compared against everything else. But those are about the ideas that I had. That's like 6-7 videos right there. If you've got anything else, leave the comment in the comment section below, and I'll see if I can get to that video as well. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching, and thanks for all your support.